an email through asking me to explain how the alarm clock method is set up for foxes. So I'm going to do this short video in the hope that it might help a few people out that feel it might be a benefit to them. I've been baiting up here for a week now. There's only one access point to here, and that is just down here. The rest of it, as you can see, is almost sheer rock face. Now there's an earth down in the bottom here, which is where I've been baiting up. I know that it's a vixen with a couple of cubs. I've already had a couple of cubs, so we'll go down there and have a look. Be back with you in a sec. In here, now there is a bolt hole just here. Now if we look carefully, there's bits of fur there. I have found odd traces of bone here a couple of days ago. I can't exactly smell fox in there, but there's also, here you go, there's some droppings, elongated with fur in it, which tends to show that it's a predator anyway. So I don't know if that's interconnected with this other earth, because the earth is in an old mine shaft, and I do know that some of these shafts tend to connect up to each other. There's the shaft where the earth is, which we'll go and have a quick look at in a sec, once I can get me way without going head over tail. I would have said arse over tit, but being it's on video. Here's the earth. It's an old mine shaft, and it really is enormous in there. It starts to climb upwards, but we don't know what way it goes from there. Now, I don't know if the camera is going to pick this up. I can see there's bones there. Yeah, there's what looks like the backbone of a lamb. My God. Just there. To help put that in perspective, what I'm looking at, that bit of backbone is somewhere like 9 inches long. So she's obviously feeding them well. Right, I'm just going to shut the camera down now in a sec. This is where we are. We'll zoom back out so you can see. Here's the quarry facing and everything. Up there, near that post, you can see is where I tend to shoot from, either there or just there. I've got perfect cover to lie down there, shooting downwards at an angle of about 40 degrees. Couldn't offer a safer shot. So I'll just shut down, put the camera on the tripod, and we'll show you how we do this. Okay, this is the clock I use. Cost me just £2.50 from one of the discount stores. Discard the battery cover. Just there, you don't need that. You've got to, the battery's got to be able to be pulled out. I used this clock the other night. There's a time. That's the time that the fox came and had its supper. 12:10. I missed last night because we were out shooting and the light was gone before we'd finished. You also need, I use a reel of button thread, fairly strong but nice and fine. We get one end of the thread. I used to use string, but I found that garden twine tended to have a slight preservative, creosote sort of smell, and I felt that might put the foxes off a bit. So the first end of the thread, we'll tie just a loop in it, like so. That will go over the battery. battery will go in the loop. What this means is that when the battery is pulled out, the thread will just slide off the end of it and you don't lose a battery. Using string and a bit of tape, which I used to use, I found I was losing batteries, and I object to paying for batteries for foxes. So we put that in with the loop over it, and we'll set the clock to the right time, which I now make as 20 to 11. Here we go, 20 to 11. I wouldn't normally do this until the evening, I have to add, but I'm busy this evening and I won't have time to do any videoing. 20 to 11, the battery's in there with the bit of thread around the battery so it'll pull out. Right, there's several ways of fixing the clock. In the field, I would be more inclined to use a post and a bit of insulating tape and tape the clock to it. But here, because we're not in the field, there's no post or anything about, I'm just going to wedge it between two stones. I'll show you this in a minute, leaving it so that the battery can come out. So there we've got it with two stones, and I'll just rest another flat stone across the top of it. That'll give it the weight and hopefully a little bit of shelter from the rain, if it does. Okay, next we need a bit of bait. Here's a rabbit that I shot last night. It was facing square on to me. I took it with the HMR, and there you can see the bullet hole. In fact, that is the exit wound, I think. No, it's not. It was a straight heart, what you call a heart and lung shot. Took it out clean as a whistle. Unravel, I like to use about 4 or 5 yards of thread. I don't like the clock too close to it because this clock has got a bit of a tick, and I wouldn't want that to put the foxes off. This end of the thread has to be fastened around the rabbit. If I move back a bit, you'll be able to see what I'm doing. I fasten it around the stomach, a couple of turns, and tie it off. Fairly tightly, so the fox is going to pick the rabbit up, and when it does, it will try running off with it to its earth to feed the cubs and whatever, and it will pull the battery out. There we go. Now we'll just put the rabbit the full length of the cotton away from it. There we have the rabbit. No snags, nothing snagged the cotton or anything. I'll pick the rubbish up. Just to enhance it a little, I tend to just slit the rabbit open a bit so it'll just give it a nice waft, particularly as the sun gets on it. Ready for this evening, it'll be ripe, and a fox will not fail to smell it. There we go, a little bit of a flick, and there we got some of its guts hanging out, and that's it. Just give the knife a wipe, pick up my bits and my bag, and we're all done. There we have the alarm clock method all set up. We'll be back tomorrow morning just to retrieve the clock and battery, and it'll tell us whatever time the clock stopped, what time it is that Charlie is coming out to feed. I would expect it to be within quarter of an hour or so either side of midnight. Right, I'm just off now to check another earth and start baiting up there. Okay, I'm back with you. I'm now some 300-400 yards from where I've just set the clock up. There's another earth here. It's recently been cleaned out, which tends to make me suspect there's a fox either using it as an emergency type of hole, or there could be another family in here. So I'm going to start setting up a bait station. Here's the earth. I just want to have a quick sniff to see if I can smell fox. Yes, it's a nice musty foxy sort of smell in that, so it's suggesting that it's actually in use. So I'm going to start setting up a bait station here in a place where I've got plenty of cover and a good straight line of fire, offering me a very, very safe backstop. I'll check this daily. You see we've got a fox run going straight up there. That leads over to another farmer I've got permission, and of course that farm over there I have permission on. They've got a poultry unit with 6,500 free range hens, so we're very cautious and conscious about controlling the foxes here. All I'm going to do initially, I've got another young rabbit here that had an argument with the Hummer last night. Unfortunately the Hummer won. It's only a young one, but we can that's the sort of damage that the Hummer did to it. Saves me cutting it open to give it some scent. So I'm literally just gonna leave it somewhere here. It's fairly close to this main run. It's offering me a good safe shooting position from up on top of that mound. It's a relatively close range shot, but the wind's usually in my favour here. I guess that's 60-70 yards, and obviously perfectly safe backstop. There's a rabbit and there's all the backstops. We'll see how that goes. I shall bait here for 3-4 days and then we'll put the clock on this one, because by then I hope to have dealt with the first lot where I put the clock. Okay guys, I just hope that this helps explain it to any of the novices or newcomers to fox shooting. If it helps you out, fine, I've done my job. Speak to you all later. Take care and happy hunting.